Tonight on To The Point, teachers on strike.
I hope that there is a middle ground. I hope this brings people to the table.
Why educators in multiple districts are hitting the picket lines at the same time. Multiple shootings and 2 major highways shut down. The chaos that landed 1 victim in the hospital.
This is not a little event. This is a big event.
The growing conflict in the Middle East and what it could mean for gas prices. And in the race for California governor,
we have to get back to basics.
Our series of interviews with Democratic candidates continue. Tonight we hear from Matt Mahan. Teachers in the Twin Rivers Unified School District are set to strike tomorrow morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. At the same time, teachers in the Natomas Unified School District have set a strike date for next Tuesday if negotiations continue to meet a dead end. Now, thousands of staff and students will be impacted. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen is here to give us the latest on the negotiations from both districts and also how families are feeling tonight.
Alex, the timing of all of these potential strikes is something the California Teachers Association says shows districts that it's not an isolated incident, and many teachers are struggling with affordability. A Twin Rivers parent tells me she's supporting her teachers, but urges the teachers union and district to come to an agreement soon for the sake of her children's education.
Teachers are the most important in-school factor influencing students' success. And they don't just deliver curriculum, they mentor, they guide.
With 2 children in the Twin Rivers Unified School District, Maria Kalina Fisher says it's important to support the people shaping her children's future.
I think cost of living adjustments to pay are really important to keep teachers attracted to this kind of field, to keep them supported. Ultimately, that trickles down to our children, of course.
Kalina Fisher plans on keeping her children home from school on Thursday when the teachers plan on going on strike. The union, Twin Rivers Unified Educators, or TRU, is asking for a raise and for the district to fully cover health benefits.
We had a bargaining team meeting with the district yesterday that also did not bring us any closer together on a fair contract. So we are prepared and ready to go on strike tomorrow if necessary.
A district spokesperson says the district is disappointed that the union rejected their latest offer and a strike is a choice, not a solution. And in a message to families, the district says 5 districts across the state face major job cuts, millions in deficits, and schools closing. But TRU believes the district has a money prioritizing problem. A similar fight is brewing over in the Natomas Unified School District with a strike date set for March 10th.
We have continually asked for fully paid family health care. Right now, on average, between our employee-only, employee plus one, and family tier for health care, the district only contributes 60%.
The Natomas Teachers Association is also asking for a 4 to 4.5% raise in pay. With the strike looming, a spokesperson for the district says it's surprising to hear there's a strike date since there have been progress in negotiations and it's continuing in good faith, adding that a strike announcement comes before the formal fact-finding report has even been released. The timing of both these districts going on strike was not coordinated, but the California Teachers Association says it shows the magnitude of the issue statewide.
Bringing a light to this being a statewide, be it a national crisis, it's really more about elevating those concerns that, individually, we don't make progress in these areas that need to be made.
Ultimately, students and parents will be impacted most, and Kalina Fisher is hoping for a quick solution.
Reach some sort of agreement that respects teachers while also ensuring that our schools are strong for students and financially viable.
And teachers at Twin Rivers are set to strike Thursday morning at 8:15 if negotiations continue to fail. Negotiations at Natomas will continue through the rest of the week with the hopes of an agreement before the March 10th strike date. Of course, we'll keep you updated on air and online at abc10.com. Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. Well, we continue to follow breaking news. 1 person was hurt and several cars were hit by gunfire on Sacramento area freeways, causing chaos and a lot of fear during that early morning commute. Thousands of drivers were impacted. I do want to show you a map showing the locations where police were looking for bullet casings. I-5 southbound at Sutterville and Highway 60 at Richards Boulevard, right there as you see. Now, officers responded to several reports of vehicles hit by gunfire at different locations. 1 person was hit and taken to the hospital and another was detained for questioning. The CHP says there are at least 3 different scenes A car believed to be connected to the incident was located with help from Sacramento police. There is no motive at this time. We know that several officers were also seen serving a search warrant at the River Terrace Apartments off Truxell Road in West El Camino. CHP says they do not believe there is a threat to the public. The investigation is still very active. We do expect to get another update coming later tonight, so make sure you stay with us on air and online for updates. Senate Republicans today voted down an effort to stop President Trump's war against Iran. The legislation known as a War Powers Resolution failed on a 47-53 vote. It gave lawmakers an opportunity to demand congressional approval before any further attacks are carried out. The War Powers Resolution is seen as a formality, knowing the president has the power to veto, and previously he said that he would. And just an hour ago, we learned the identities of the two other soldiers that were killed in Kuwait on Sunday, one of them from right here in Sacramento. Take a look at your screen. The Department of War confirms that 54-year-old Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzin is believed to be the person who died at the scene. A positive ID will be completed by the medical examiner. The other service member is also identified as Major Jeffrey O'Brien of Iowa. A total of 6 service members were killed in Sunday's attack. The Pentagon says it is ramping up efforts in the Middle East, adding additional troops and firepower to the operation. Iran is also ramping up its retaliatory strikes across the region. Meanwhile, officials say executives from defense contractors are set to visit the White House Friday to talk about ramping up production as the war with Iran continues. President Donald Trump claims the U.S. military supply of munitions is virtually unlimited. As tensions rise in the Middle East, there are growing concerns about what all this could mean for our gas prices. The region produces more than a quarter of the world's oil supply, and experts say any disruption could quickly impact prices at the pump. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Ha explains why analysts say that drivers should be paying very close attention.
Now you have a major geopolitical event. This is not a little event. This is a big event, which is completely outside of our control.
And events outside of our control mean an unreliable supply of oil for Californians, says University of Southern California Associate Professor Mike Miche.
Our theory of being more reliant on foreign imports is fine in a perfect world, but it's not fine in the reality of the real world.
This as California loses in-state refining capacity, meaning less oil production. Recently, the Phillips 66 refinery in Los Angeles shut down, and Valero in Benicia is planning to cease operations by April. 2 facilities producing 20% of California gasoline.
You know, price is an issue. Price is already high in California because of taxes, but what if you can't get the products that you need? Our Richmond refinery in Northern California supplies 60% of the jet fuel to San Francisco Airport.
The California Energy Commission, or CEC, acknowledging refinery closures mean more reliance on imported fuel. A spokesperson writing in part, quote, "To smooth that transition, we will need to continue to ensure that supply can reliably come into the state."
We have to get a special blend of gasoline for California, and there's just a limited number of refineries for that.
A California special blend, which is more environment friendly, which only some countries in Asia like South Korea, Singapore, India, Saudi Arabia, and China can make. But Miche says there's the looming conflict between China and Taiwan, and the war in Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz oil route along the Persian Gulf.
There's, one eye on the Middle East and one eye on Asia right now.
7 major refineries are left in the state, including Chevron, which operates 2. They too are foreshadowing closures amid newly proposed regulations by the California Air Resources Board, which works to help meet the state's zero emissions by 2045 climate goal.
Are you guys threatening to move out of state and close down your 2 refineries if these amendments do pass?
Yes, Jenny, we have got to get some real action.
The Cap and Invest program allows polluters to pay for credit to continue operations and offers rebates and consumer returns. The proposal, fewer permits, higher fees.
I call it Cap and Divest. That will not allow us to compete with anything coming from overseas because, again, they're only going to tax in-state production and they're not going to tax imports.
Jenny Ha, ABC 10.
PBF Energy, which also runs 2 refineries, is also opposing. Andy Walls with Chevron says that he has heard back from the CEC and that back and forth discussions over the amendments are still ongoing. Western Wyoming will be the new site of a commercial nuclear reactor. It is the first construction permit granted by the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission in 8 years. Today, the commission approved plans by a Bill Gates-backed company to build a sodium-cooled nuclear reactor 130 miles northeast of Salt Lake City, Utah. Gates is looking to nuclear as a power source for electricity-hungry data centers to power artificial intelligence. Construction of the reactor is expected to start within weeks. Still ahead, California's race for governor continuing to heat up. 9 Democrats are vying for the top job, and we are sitting down with them one-on-one. And Governor Gavin Newsom makes another appearance on late night television, firing back at critics of California.
And temperatures tomorrow pretty close to seasonal, but the story is more about the wind. A lot of wind on the way for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and the forecast is on the way after the break.
But first, in other headlines tonight, the man accused of taking hostages and killing one person in Roseville pleaded guilty today of first-degree murder. Erica Brill also pleaded guilty to attempted murder of a peace officer and kidnapping. The incidents happened in 2023 at Mahaney Park. He is scheduled to be sentenced on March 25th. 2 measles cases are confirmed in Sacramento County. Public health officials said the cases are in 2 unvaccinated children, one of whom recently traveled to South Carolina. These are 2 of the 26 confirmed measles cases in California recorded this year. And a major legal case in the music industry began today in New York. The Justice Department is suing Live Nation, claiming it's a monopoly that uses its dominance to hurt competition and increase ticket prices. Live Nation, which merged with Ticketmaster back in 2010, denies the claims. If the Justice Department wins its case, it could ask a judge to split up Live Nation and Ticketmaster. Well, there was a lot of sunshine for us here in Sacramento. Let's get things over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef with a look at your forecast. Please tell me the beautiful weather is continuing the rest of the week.
Well, temperatures, continuing the rest of this week. We're going to be in those upper 60s. But we are going to have a lot of wind, and that is going to blow some pollen around, and that could make quite a few of us fairly sniffly for the rest of the work week and even as we start the weekend. More on the wind in just a second. 69 Sacramento, 68 in Stockton, 68 Modesto, 57 in Placerville, and 45 up in Truckee. That was this afternoon. Right near 70 degrees, one of the warmer days we've had so far this year. Now temperatures in those upper 50s and low 60s in the valley and mid 30s in the high country. Wind, again, is going to be the story over the next several days. It's not real breezy in the Sacramento Valley, but definitely down through the San Joaquin Valley and parts of the Bay Area. Sustained winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, gusting up to about 25 miles per hour in the San Joaquin Valley, but we are just getting started there. Looking towards the Tower Bridge, 63 degrees and sustained winds about 5 miles per hour out of the west. We'll stay clear through the overnight, temperatures falling into the 40s to start Thursday morning, but the winds are picking up during the overnight hours, and by Thursday afternoon, temperatures in those mid 60s, pretty close to seasonal, some upper 60s on the map too. But again, that story's about the wind. Valley wind gusts 25 to 35 miles per hour. So this is 1 o'clock in the morning. Already starting to see those northerly winds. Northerly winds get stronger by 7 o'clock Thursday morning, and as we go into Thursday afternoon, widespread valley wind gusts of 25 to 35 miles per hour. You see all the numbers there. You see all the north wind. As we go into Friday morning now, we're going to see even stronger northerly winds, especially on the west side of the Sacramento Valley, but we'll also see some stronger easterly winds developing in the Sierra as Friday goes on. Friday afternoon remains gusty in the valley, and all these winds are going to continue into Saturday as this system drops south. That's creating that gradient between the high and low. That's giving us the wind down here at the surface. By the weekend, though, temperatures back in the mid-70s. Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, I continue my conversations with the 9 Democratic candidates for governor. Tonight, we talk with Matt Mahan about his vision for California. And then the legal setback for President Trump's tariffs, a judge stepping in, ruling in favor of importers. A defeat today for President Trump. A federal judge ruled that companies that paid tariffs are entitled to refunds. In the ruling, the New York judge wrote that all importers of record are entitled to benefit from the Supreme Court ruling that struck down sweeping double-digit import taxes President Trump imposed last year. Governor Gavin Newsom was on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night. He talked a lot about President Trump, addressed homelessness, and also defended California's success, reacting to criticism that the state frequently gets. Take a listen.
The fact that California is the 4th largest economy in the world, has more scientists, engineers, more Nobel laureates, the finest system of higher education, more venture capital than any other state in America.
We got the TMZ tour.
We got TMZ tours.
We got a lot in this state. The governor also used the opportunity to plug his book, Young Man in a Hurry. He has been on that tour for a while. All right. This June, Californians will head to the polls to help decide who could become the state's next governor, while the final decision comes in November. For now, 9 leading Democratic hopefuls and several Republicans are in the race. To help you get to know them and also what they'd bring to the job, I sat down with the candidates at last month's Democratic convention. I will also do the same with the Republican Party. To keep things fair, I drew names at random for these interviews. Meet Matt Mahan. For people that have never met you before, talk to me about why you decided to run for governor.
I jumped into this race because we have to do better in California, and I know that we can because in San Jose, we have led the way for the state in reducing crime, reducing homelessness, and like most Californians, I'm frustrated that over the last 6 years, spending in the state has gone up by 75%. And the outcomes are not improved by 75%. In some areas, things have gotten worse. We have to do better. I know that we can, but it's not easy. We have to build the political will to hold government accountable for reducing the bureaucracy, eliminating the programs and policies that don't work, and make sure we're delivering for working and middle-class families.
If you were to be elected, what would be your top 3 priorities your first year in office?
My focus is on reducing costs and increasing incomes. On the cost side, largely because of the amount of bureaucracy, process, fees that we have imposed in government, we have the highest housing costs, the highest energy costs in the country. We need to reduce the amount of bureaucracy and regulation in the state. We have to attract investment and good, high-paying jobs. And right now, there is a real challenge we're facing in the state where we are demonizing and overregulating. It's too expensive to do anything, so jobs are going elsewhere. And we have to get back to basics to bring back jobs and increase incomes while reducing costs, particularly for housing and energy.
We know that California has spent billions of dollars trying to address the homelessness issue, but it still persists. You can definitely still see it on a lot of city streets, even here in San Francisco. What exactly would you do differently to address this issue?
Well, we need to stop funding failure. In San Jose, we've taken a very different approach, and we have the results to show it. We've built a nation-leading model around prevention, short-term rental assistance with case management to help people when they fall on hard times, to prevent homelessness. Those are the best dollars we can spend. We've invested in shelter and interim housing, and when it's available, we require that people use it, and we get people stabilized indoors, connected to services sooner so that they don't become chronically homeless. When we get upstream of what we see on our streets and intervene earlier and more effectively, we reduce a lot of suffering and we actually save a lot of money.
Do you think California has gone too far, not far enough, or struck the right balance when it comes to criminal justice reform?
Well, it really depends on the crime. I don't believe that our jails and prisons should be our de facto mental health hospitals. I do think we need to build mental health hospitals again and have inpatient treatment and get people into the care that they need. But as we focused on reducing the jail population, we didn't do a very good job of creating an alternative, other interventions, other programs that work. We have mental health diversion in the state that is not working very well, where people are being diverted from a criminal pathway into a program where there's very little accountability and we're seeing repeat crime. And when someone's coming back and cycling through a second time, a third time, that should be a signal to all of us that something's broken.
We are going to keep these candidate profiles going at 6:30. Tomorrow I sit down with Tom Steyer. You can also stream all of my interviews right now on the ABC 10 app. We are also working to sit down with the top Republican candidates as we continue our coverage of the race for California's next governor. We'll be right back. Coming up tonight at 11 on Late News Tonight, we will have an update on the multiple shootings that happened this morning on multiple Sacramento freeways. The CHP says there are at least 3 different scenes. 1 person was hit by gunfire. 1 person was also detained. There is no motive at this time. The CHP says that they do not believe that there is a threat to the public. But this investigation is still very active. We do expect to get another update from CHP any minute now. We are still standing by waiting for that. But please make sure you stay with us on air and online for those latest updates on this. As always, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. If you have something you think the team and I should be looking into, you can always reach out to us anytime. And don't forget, you can download our free ABC 10 streaming app. We have plenty of great content on there. Obviously, all the governor candidates that are running, there are 9 of them. So if you want to rewatch, get to know them a little bit better, I highly suggest you go over there and check it out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.